The regular cat expires after what? 10 years? Look at you! You're 15 and limping slightly, dilated eye, forget where the food is half the time, getting fat, frumpy. We thought you died like twice. Just run away and croaked. Nope. Still here. Still going. No sign of quitting. It's like, you know, this is the one point of existence where you will truly be loved. 1993 Volvo 850. Look at this. It's a mess. The interior is like literally flying apart. After many, oh hey, there's the intake pipe. I wondered where that went. After many years of teenagers and dad driving it to work, all the sun visors are busted off. That's amusing. Oh look, both of them are gone. Seat covers. Where's the lid for the center console? Wonder how old this is. Somebody crashed it at one point. Probably one of my sisters. The paint's coming off. More of the paint is coming off. Power antenna, that busted off years ago. Got 1.5 million brake light bulbs so you can burn out a whole bunch of them before you get a ticket. Imagine there was door trim there at one point. Oh, holes in the buttons. I don't know when the last time was anyone cleaned this. That infernal dinging noise will not quit. Key's not even in the ignition. And there it goes. Where's it even coming from? Shut up. I would love to know how many miles are on it, but the odometer broke right there. Oh shoot. Back in like 2013. 4 years now. It's been daily driven ever since. AC still works. All the climate controls still work. All this stuff. Half the gauge cluster lights are burned out, so you'll never know if you run out of gas at night. This hood release may be the most infuriating design I've ever seen. Ha! Oh, nope. Yes. 2.5 liter, 5-cylinder, 4 valves per cylinder, twin cam, blah, blah, blah. Not a turbo. We got the one Volvo on the planet that's not a turbo. So I think it puts out like 160 horsepower when it was new. We'll give them this. These hood supports are sweet. Does manage to go through low beam bulbs with astonishing regularity, but at least they don't look like they're too hard to change. Headlight wipers in 1993? Where is this even... what? Thank goodness this one has the modular, removable lower half, whatever control arm. See those 3 bolts right there? You can just pull the ball joint out. Because without those, these CV axles would be an absolute nightmare to change. Come to watch me inspect the CV axles. Ah, my face! This car is the epitome of how are you still alive. The last couple of years it sounded like absolute garbage when you try and start it. When it did finally start, it felt like it was missing like 2 of the cylinders. And it always seemed to run okay. Starter motor finally burned out one day. We had that replaced. Not sure why. I guess we felt like it was worth limping along. And we thought this last summer it was this final straw when the transmission started slipping. Sister limped at home and it barfed fluid all over the driveway. We had to push it out in the road so we could park our other cars. We thought that was it. We thought we would have to say goodbye. Nope, it's still alive. Took it to the shop. They found out it had blown the transmission hose. So that's where all the fluid went. Put it back together, fill it up. Everything everything still works. I changed out the spark plugs and the fuel filter. Those are both really old, so it runs great. Engine feels great. It idles smooth. It revs smoothly. It pulls strong all the way up to the red line at 6,000. I fixed the transmission and it works just as good as it always has. This is actually one of the better automatic transmissions I've ever felt, and not because it shifts quick or it's geared well. It's geared tall for highway cruising, and it's the 90s, so performance wasn't really a thing. But when it does shift, you get this nice cha-ching, like a shotgun slide. It feels cool. It feels tight. It doesn't feel slidey, slippery. And it's fairly responsive. It doesn't take long between me putting my foot down for it to change gears and give me what little power the lowly 5-cylinder is still putting out. It still takes some time to start when it's cold, and I assume that's because the fuel system is losing pressure somewhere. When I went to change the filter, there was nothing came out of the little Schrader valve on the fuel rail when I pushed it. It's been sitting overnight. Visibility out of this thing is surprisingly good. Well, maybe not surprising if this is the 90s. This is in the period before all your pillars had to be ridiculously thick. The windows are all square. The windshield's nice and wide. Oh, the ride is harsh and clanky. Front end uses traditional independent suspension. I don't know if it's double wishbone or not. Never cared to look. The rear, I'm not sure what to call it. It's like barely independent. I thought it was solid axle at first, because you've got these giant steel girders that attach to the wheels, and they pivot from the opposite side of the frame. So you've got this big cross floppy thing going on. The suspension, at one point, had that nice taut European feel. Now it just feels brittle. The whole car just feels brittle. It's all the bushings are worn out, all the springs, struts. You can probably hear the interior squeaking away, trying to drive. It makes all these lovely thumping, clanking, rattling noises. Oh no, my professional phone mount is flopping around. You like that? You like how my phone flops around while I've stuck it in the bizarre door handle pocket? And as worn out as it is, it still corners okay. It's not like your old American cars. You go around a turn, you feel like you're gonna scrape the mirrors off on the pavement. It's not floaty. The steering feel is loose. Pulls to the left really bad. Somebody probably crashed it into the curb. For as long as I can remember, there's been something rolling around in the center console area. Every time you take a turn, it goes scooting about. It makes these obnoxious noises. Oh, you can't see me anymore. I remember when we got this car, I was 7 years old. The interior was still immaculate, and it still smelled like new leather. I get carsick every time I rode it. This was Dad's car. He drove it to work. Every day until not that long ago, he finally got a Volvo S60 to replace this thing and let the kids have their fun in it. Lovely noise. The brakes, remarkably, still feel that good. There's a little spongy, but it's not like I put my foot down and I'm worried if I'm not going to be able to stop this thing or not. I'm absolutely sure I can trigger the ABS on this pavement if I stomp it hard enough. like it doesn't have enough power that you wouldn't be able to pass somebody on the freeway when you really needed to. Even though this is a complete barge of a car, turning circle is still surprisingly good. Spec sheet says 33 feet. I'm not sure if I believe it, but it definitely turns tighter than Dad's Volvo S60, which is a noticeably shorter car. And as far as I can tell, built on the same platform, but it has a 40-foot turning circle, which is the same turning circle as our Land Cruisers, which is ridiculous. The thing is so hard to park. As far as interior amenities, most of it still works. The driver's side seat heater has never worked for as long as I can remember. Passenger side still works, I think. Rear windows are finicky. They've always been that way. Front windows work. Power mirror adjusts. Yeah, those still work. Sunroof still works, I think. Find out. Figure out how to open it. Yep, that still works. 15 years. Explain yourself. It's still here. It's still going. Look how big it is. From the standpoint of a do-it-yourself mechanic, this car isn't bad. Spark plugs, of course, are cake. Just take off that cover there. They're all right there. Radiator, even though it looks like it'd be a nightmare, is actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I have changed that out. It wasn't too big a deal. O2 sensor, you can see that one down there. Shouldn't be too hard to change because I'm sure it's dead. Diagnostic port there, you can read the engine codes. It's not OBD, it's Volvo's own system. Timing belt, they recommend replacing every 50,000 miles, and thankfully it appears to be relatively easy to access under this plastic cover thing here. I mean, there's not a whole lot of room between that and the side of the engine. Power steering pump is there. Alternator has never gone out, so I can't tell you if that's easy to get to or not. Doesn't look like it. Starter went out once. Probably mentioned that already. Had that replaced. We didn't do it. Had a shop do it. Sick of it by that point. Don't have any PTSD from doing the brakes years ago, so I don't remember if they were bad or not, but I doubt it. Just discovered. You can control the electronic door locks from the trunk. Even though the actual trunk pop thing is there. Trunk is average. It's not particularly deep or wide, but it's not puny. Would I buy one if it popped up used in this condition? I probably would. I don't think it's ever left us stranded. It's obviously had its issues, but nothing too significant. I mean, you'd expect the starter to go out on any old car. So if you were like in college or something looking to get a car, this would probably be a safe bet. I mean, if it survived our family, it's probably gonna survive anything you'd throw at it. It was right around the same time the transmission chucked its guts that the old cat got some kind of tooth infection or something gross. His face is all swollen up. We were prepared to write them both off. That was it. But no. Cat healed on his own, and a couple spark plugs and a hose and a fuel filter later, and this thing's still kicking. Kind of have to respect it for how well it's doing, for how little work we've put into it. Kind of want it to stick around.